Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from Madison Realty Capital, Capital One Bank, New York Community Bank, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Meridian Capital Group, Customers Bank, AmTrust Title, Ariel Property Advisors. Additional funding has been provided by AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, Citizens Bank, CPEX Real Estate Services, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handler Real Estate Organization, Handro Properties, Hodges Ward Elliott, Inc., Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Matone Group, Mercantile Bank, New Banks, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Group, SJP Properties, Stonehenge NYC, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Meringoff Family Foundation, the Moynihan Organization, Moynihan Capital Partners, and these friends.
Oh, Crystal Apple, tell me which company is going to be successful in the future? Oh, you know what? It's really technology and real estate. That's where the business is. That's where the money is. And that's where we should be investing, Crystal Apple. So today, with the help of my executive producer, Mr. Russo, we've assembled this group of dynamic new tech companies to provide what they're doing in the technology for real estate. My guests, they include Marshall Cox, who is the founder and CEO of Radiator Labs, Francesca Loftus, who is the co-founder and CEO of Home, and Vincent Harris, who is the co-founder and CEO of Who'Zip. And last but not least, the man who literally helped me bring them together, the partner at MetaProp, Phil Russo. So before I ask each one of them about their business, how do you make a determination of who you're going to invest in?
Well, all of these shiny apples are going to win, in our opinion. But at MetaProp, we are a real estate technology venture capital firm. So we specialize in making investments in earliest stage property technology companies, such as the people represent here. And as always, venture capital is a risky game. You look for great people with a great business idea, and in our case, great technology. Those are the differentiators, and trying to determine who and what that will be across the whole range of real estate is very tough.
Now, you have an accelerator program, right? So tell me about the accelerator, because these are all alumni of the accelerator program. What's the accelerator program?
Unlike incubators, where people with a back-of-the-envelope idea reside in your space, the accelerator is for companies such as these that are early stage but already doing business. We actually have 3 in association with Columbia University, their graduate school of real estate and architecture. We have a pre-accelerator we did starting with them last year. We have the accelerator program. We're on our 4th one. It'll begin in September. And we just began our international program.
So what do you mean by accelerator program? What does it do?
It's essentially a 22-week boot camp for growth for young companies like this. And we bring mentors, speakers, the resources from Columbia Graduate School, and little media training, and try to put them in the best situation to accelerate, really speed their growth. We say we'll make you win fast or fail fast.
So winner number one. Tell my viewers what Radiator Labs is, and tell me how you created Radiator Labs.
Sure. So I got my I got my PhD at Columbia University in 2013, and while I was there, I had nothing to do with radiators, my research, but I lived in a pretty horrible steam heated apartment and complained incessantly to my advisor, who kind of herded me into developing an actual solution to it. And I did that. It worked super well.
People wouldn't be aware that so many apartments in New York City have radiators, okay?
Yeah.
So, and they hiss.
Yeah.
And they waste energy and all the rest.
So it's in many ways a uniquely New York problem. Of course, any bigger, older city has steam heat. Any building built before World War II, more or less. Back before the war, we didn't have reliable water pumps, we didn't have reliable fans. So the only way to heat large spaces like big buildings was to boil water and let that energy, convect up to the different radiators. So, most of our buildings were built before that time. Steam heat was designed to last, and so most of our buildings still have that technology. Many people consider steam to be a bad technology. It's not. It's great. I mean, these buildings are still there and they still function. The problem is that the balance in these buildings has been lost over time. So there's been many changes. You can think of buildings being built, right next to a building that will change its exposure. The biggest difference is that we invented double pane insulating glass. So we changed all of our windows, which dramatically changed the amount of energy each room needs. But we have the same pipes and we have the same radiators. And so the problem now is, how do you control where steam goes in a building? It's very hard to do that. So today you just open your window and let that excess heat out, which is enormously wasteful. It's costs an enormous amount of money that we don't really see. And we have developed a solution to that, which is simple and is able to completely
So what is
eliminate
the
that.
solution?
The solution is a thermodynamically controlled enclosure. So it's an insulating box. It's just a normal radiator cover. We have insulation in there. And we have a thermostatically controlled fan that when the room is cold and the radiator's hot, we push heat out into the room. When the room hits
So within the new radiator box, there's a fan.
there's a fan, there's a radio, there's a PCB, a brain, there's a wireless radio. So we essentially are pushing heat out into the room based on whether the room needs it or not. We're communicating that data back to our servers, which we use all that information to figure out how the building heats up and cools down. And we use that to tell the boiler exactly what it needs to do. So on the radiator cover side, we're able to basically send steam to the rooms that need it and not send steam to the rooms that don't need it. So we fix that imbalance, and then we are able to tell the boiler to turn on when the building needs heat, and we tell it when to turn off when we don't need heat. And we know more about how much heat the building needs than anybody has in history, more or less.
So how does a owner who is unsophisticated, who has a boiler, okay, be it many of them, as I said to you earlier, be a oil boiler, which they're converting to gas heat, and they're converting it because they have to, and it's savings and all the rest. How do they learn about you, and how do they gain efficiency and save money? Because that's the end goal.
Today, they can only learn about us through news articles and word of mouth. That will change as we start investing in marketing and advertising. But essentially, they know how much they're spending on fuel. They walk by their buildings every day and see the open windows, and so they have a sense of how much energy they're wasting. We're able to, when we first engage with customers, look at their energy bills, do an analysis of the building, and tell them exactly how much they're consuming per unit area in their building, and we can show them that in contrast to normal buildings out in New York City. We can also show them how much we've saved in buildings exactly of their kind, and tell them how many years it will take for our improvement to pay itself off, which is typically less than 5 years.
So you sell them the radiator, the component, the box and all the equipment, and is there a monthly maintenance fee also?
Yes, so we go in the building, we survey it. Every radiator is its own special snowflake, so we build each cover specifically to install on that one spot. That's to move all the complexity to the factory. We install it. It's a unit cost per enclosure. That's our magic portion plus just the metal cover itself. And then we charge a monitoring service, which is $24 a radiator per year, and the payback includes all of those costs.
And do you make your equipment here, or is it assembled here?
It is produced predominantly in the U.S. The only thing that America doesn't really produce are fans, so we buy those from.
My question was more of the product of made in USA, made in New York. Is the product assembled in the USA?
The product, everything but the fans is manufactured, assembled in the USA. It's assembled up in Maine. We have components from Florida, from California, from some from New York. But we're always actually looking to move more things into New York State.
So let's talk about home. What is home? H, small h, big O and M.
Yeah, so it's called that, Om in Your Home. We started as purely a yoga provider for amenity managers.
But you didn't have your PhD from Columbia.
No, I don't have my PhD
Okay,
in
but
yoga.
how do you get into it? Okay, we heard there was a need. He didn't like the hissing.
Yeah, so we initially wanted to, we had a founder whose mother passed away from cancer, and we wanted to do something that really...
What were you doing before home?
Before home, I was running an off-Broadway theater. I moved from running an off-Broadway theater with pop-up shows in it, so really having to manage a mobile staff, similar to what I do at home now, into, for about a year span, I was the events director for techmeetups.com across all of their locations in North America. So I got very interested in tech and startup life there, and that's what brought me over to home.
So you said there was a co-founder whose mother had passed on from cancer.
Yes, and so we wanted to address the issue of yoga and meditation feeling not mainstream. We tested this meditation concept in a big building in Brooklyn called The Edge through an amenity manager and saw how high the demand was.
What is an amenity manager? I know The Edge
Yes.
because Jeff has been on my show numerous times, who built The Edge.
So the amenity manager is normally involved from the point of designing a space, so if they're designing an entire amenity floor, all the way to managing it, staffing it, normally with a front desk, normally with a maintenance staff, and you pay a flat monthly fee for the amenity manager, and then you pay for all the services on top. So if you bring in a fitness instructor, you're additionally paying for the fitness instructor. If you bring
So what
in,
you do at The Edge? Tell me how it
yeah,
started.
so we ran a pilot class, and it was incredibly successful. And we saw that if we were going to roll out our services across amenity managers, that we weren't going to be able to access the number of properties we'd need to scale. A lot of properties are not willing to commit the funds and the space to build out an entire amenity space. And an amenity manager is normally involved in larger scale projects. So we saw that there was an existing need to program spaces to make really sticky experiences for tenants. We started in residential, so in residential buildings, so that people get to know their neighbors and they feel really attached to the property. But we saw that there were not a lot of spaces we could run this in. And so we thought about programming vacant spaces, programming lobbies, programming lounges that are not supposed to be used for that.
Programming the physical space with people, or just programming the
So anything.
building the space?
So from, we run fitness classes that are weekly recurring, like yoga or meditation or Pilates, but we also run events. So we'll run an event in a lobby of a commercial building, maybe smoothie bikes in the morning, to really demonstrate that the building cares about its tenants, cares about companies communicating across different floors.
How do you find people to work in this environment? How do you find Pilates experts and yoga instructors and other people to work in the facility?
So we're lucky to have we're three founders. So one with a background in real estate, one with a background in fitness, and then myself, who's got a background in operations. So we're really lucky to have our third founder as our connection to the fitness space. But we also offer full-time opportunities, full-time employment for service providers, which is really unique about the business and necessary for working in large office buildings when you're thinking about security and you're thinking about the spaces that we're working in always changing, whether it's a vacant floor, whether it's a lobby, whether it's a rooftop, depending on the season. So we are able to access top talent in a city.
How do you charge a building? Okay, I understand Marshall has, X radiator, so on, this is what it is.
Yeah,
How
so
do
we're purely per service. So you get the technology, you get the marketing, you get the full community management platform, you get a community manager, you get your data analysis just by signing up for, some buildings only have one weekly class. So we charge per the service. So
Per
if you're gonna
class
do
or per,
per class, per event, and then it's a monthly fee.
and is it a long-term contract? I mean,
Yes, starting at a year.
I like the idea. It sounds okay, but I don't want to sign a year contract.
Yeah.
I mean, you're charging a service, but you're providing a good amenity to the property. So how does, not every one of the New York City or nationwide landlords are that willing to sign up for a contract, even
So
though
we-
I've noticed you have quite a few.
Yes, we demonstrate ROI, especially in residential properties, through the number we survey to see how affected by our services you were at the point of releasing or signing up for your property. And if we can keep a tenant in a unit, 3 units a year, the service pays for itself. So it's a pretty low cost commitment when you're thinking about at the point of lease signing, people having that at the front of their mind as far as stickiness of the property.
Now, your product costs what normally per radiator?
Rule of thumb is about 500, and the payback depends on the fuel.
Right,
or
I
the oil.
realize that.
Yep.
And yours, Francesca, what's the
So
The
it starts
service.
at 700 a month, all the
For
way,
700 a month for what?
one class, one weekly class.
One weekly class?
Yeah,
For how long of a period of time?
indefinitely. So
No. How long
monthly.
is the class?
Oh, the class is about an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Vincent, talk to me about who's it?
There you go. I'll give you an origin story.
That's exactly what I want.
Okay, I'm noticing a trend here. So, Who's It was born out of my own need. I am, as I like to say, a recovering finance guy. That's actually my background. Morgan Stanley and B of A, and then after business school, I worked at a mezz shop in the city, and we were investing senior mezz debt and private equity, but I was buying real estate on the side. I started buying real estate maybe 10, 11 years ago, nothing too serious, but I had some rentals and things like that, and got more serious about it. But as I was getting more serious, I was noticing how difficult it was to find the information, to do my diligence. And again, given my background, I'm used to having a lot of data at my disposal, between a Bloomberg and a Capital IQ terminal, and even for private companies, I could get, really detailed information. And for real estate, residential real estate anyway, that just wasn't the case. And so it was a very tedious.
Single family residential real estate?
Single family is my bread and butter. I've done small multis as well. But we really are focused on single family up to small, say 10, 20, 30 unit apartment buildings. That's what I have focused on personally. It's also what the product is designed, the owners of which the products are designed to support. So I would go to my co-founder, who is a full stack developer, literally the smartest man that I know, and that's a great benefit, when you're starting a business. And I'd say, hey, can you build something to help me find this piece of data? Can you write a crawler? Can you go scrape this? Can you build an integration, this, that, and the other? And after, 5 or 6 iterations of that, he said, there's probably a product here. Guys who are doing this business seriously, like yourself, probably have the same issues. Maybe there's something bigger, a bigger opportunity. So that's how the idea was born. And so the first thing that we rolled out to our users was a data product to help them get information about the types of properties that people, professional house flippers and wholesalers, which is a term I can define if you care to have me say.
I'd like you to define.
Sure.
Okay, a house flipper, people understand.
Yeah.
You buy a property, you flip it, okay? Wholesale.
Yeah. So wholesaling a property is, again, fairly analogous to what people think of in financial services. It's like buying an option almost on a house. What happens is Francesca's got a house that she needs to sell, and I, as a wholesaler, may go to her and say, hey, I'll buy that house for $300,000, right? But then I'll go to Phil and I'll say, hey, I'll sell you this piece of paper for $315,000. I never take ownership.
So you're an arbitrage.
Exactly, it's ARB. Exactly, there's an arbitrage to be made there, and so.
Now, do you have a licensing possible problem?
Yeah, you don't have to have a license to be a wholesaler. In fact, a lot of licensed realtors do wholesale, and you see more and more of that. They've got the perfect training and background. They know their market's cold. And so we're seeing more and more licensed realtors get into wholesaling. But that is the other.
But how do you build a database around the world, or are you just regionalized?
No, we're nationwide. We buy a lot of the data. Some of it we have to triangulate and sort of put together the data, because we have lots of different sources who may have, for a single data point, we may have 3 different sources who have it, and we have to score which one has the most accurate. And so, but all that's seamless to my user. So my user can stand in front of a, vacant, blighted, graffiti-ridden house, and in 2 taps, I'll tell him who owns that house and where they are currently. Because
Okay, so I see this property.
Yep.
It could be blighted, or also it could be okay, not
Sure.
blighted property. I see this building over here. I find out it's owned by XYZ. Marshall owns the building over there. What do you do next?
So that is the other place that we shine, is sort of that last mile. So if I can make contact with Marshall, maybe through a postcard or some other piece of direct mail or phone, when he calls back, I also give my users, we have a custom-built phone system. So when Marshall calls back, before my phone rings, I know that it's Marshall calling. I know that he owns 123 Main Street. I've got a full dossier on Marshall and the property. So I can have a much more informed conversation. I can build rapport with him much quicker. I've got pictures of him. For better or worse, that kind of stuff is out there. It's not, that's no secret to anyone, I don't think. But we make it so that my user can, we've professionalized his business in a lot of ways, but specifically on this last mile that you're asking about, we give him a lot of information to engage with that seller so that he can close that deal more quickly.
How does me or Phil,
Yep.
being the user, pay you or pay Marshall?
A lot of the things we offer are free. We have a community where there's a lot of free tools, deal calculators, and a marketplace and things like that. This particular tool is a monthly service, and so it's $29 to $49 a month. If you're a certain volume, that's sort of bespoke pricing. And then we
What's
have
the volume?
to get bespoke pricing. If you are doing, more than about 30,000 calls a month, we'll do tailored.
30,000.
Oh yeah.
And how many customers do you have?
We've got about 7,000 registered users right now.
And where are the registered users physically?
Most of them are in the DC metro area, and also up here in the New York, New Jersey tri-state.
How do you get customers?
Like Marshall, we have been entirely word of mouth. We are only now about to start a marketing campaign. Into the summer, we'll do a big marketing push.
And how do you raise money besides Phil? How do you go out there and find investors?
Well,
Right now you're angel because of the first stage. Now you want to go to the next stage. How do you secure financing?
Well, before MetaProp, we were bootstrapped. My co-founder and I have both put in significant capital into the business. And we are working with MetaProp to do a proper raise into the summer, where we will do a institutional round. So they've been very helpful in that regard.
Francesca?
We've been also bootstrapped. We've done only a single seed round, all angel, and we're profitable. So
And you're profitable.
no immediate need for fundraising.
Show
We're we are moving into additional markets, and so in order to move into additional markets, we secure a partner that's going to pay up front, partner company.
Right. Now, Vincent basically said he's nationwide, but it's Washington and other markets over there. Your customer base is where? Basically
New York and Toronto, and our next expansion.
Toronto?
Yes. Our next expansion city is Seattle.
How's Toronto and New York? I mean, unless...
We had a really great partnership with Brookfield, and that's where they're based, is in Toronto. Additionally, I'm Canadian, and at the time, actually still, it's the second fastest growing market for real estate in North America, so it made a lot of sense. And right now, we're seeing the shift in Toronto from primarily co-op into rental. Intentionally, rental properties are being built and encouraged by the government, so it's a perfect market for us when they're doing this huge push into rental.
Marshall?
So investors, there's a lot of networks investors. Typically, they want you to know what they invest in, and we're a hardware company, and so that shrinks our world investment.
But how do you find Phil and his partners?
Honestly, word of mouth. It's just people talking. The entrepreneurial community in New York is large, but it's not too large. So generally, if people are looking for things, that news spreads quickly. I think I met with Aaron first with one of the other partners.
You know, somebody comes to you with 3 different ideas. In the true angel time, how do you make the determination? Okay, because we have 3 unique individuals over here with diverse backgrounds over there. Somebody who played with a mezz that you'd never say this is what he's into. It's a different type of business. Somebody who has a PhD, you say that's a little different over here. And somebody who came from the world of theater and so on, it's totally different. How do you look at it, and how do you and your partners make this determination? And tell me a little bit about this mentorship also program.
To step back, the 3 founding partners of MetaProp are from the real estate world. They're from development. Zach Aarons, who was leading angel investor in property technology in the world. Clelia Peters, who's president of Warburg Realty, White Shoe Residential Firm, also out of Boston Consulting. And Aaron Block, who, like me, came out of Cushman & Wakefield many years ago and has done a lot of entrepreneurial work successfully, became an investor himself. Along with Zach Schwartzman, who's the head of our fund, who came out of the venture capital world, we have a really wide analytical group with a lot of people in our network globally that we've built up over the last 3.5 years of MetaProp that's able to help us analyze these companies quickly. And once you start doing a lot of them, and we've done a lot, we probably survey 3,500 of them a year globally, you start to see the triggers of what makes it work. It's timing, people, are they going after a right target? And as you begin investing more, are they going after a highly scalable market? So it's a lot of factors. It's a little bit of magic. It's a little bit of deep analytics and a lot of experience. And luckily, we have a great deal of experience in doing that.
And sitting here with the 3 of you, I think you found 3 good little companies over there. It was good that you put them in the accelerator program, okay? And, you know, I've gained a little insight. I've heard a little bit about all of them before, but sitting with the founders or co-founders, it's really made me feel comfortable. And as a commitment that, you know, as we just said before, JLL has just put $100 million, CBRE Advisors is there, and I think more and more older people in the real estate business are investing in tech, and tech is the future for real estate. And I'd like to really thank Phil for bringing everybody here, but I'd like to thank Marshall, Francesca, and Vincent, and Phil, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks.
Michael.